I really like the idea of seeing him Mal'Ganis, and I hope these teams let it through because the amateur series is, well, it's not the you're not earning points for the open division. You're not collecting a prize pool. I think it's still a great playground and a great place to learn and kind of play against other people that might be above or below your skill level, but you can then try new things and you're not going to be missing out. And so this is a great opportunity to utilize. All right, well, we don't typically, scrim against these people. Like, let's see what they're like, because you can scrim against the exact same team for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you start to fall into patterns. You know their play styles, and so it doesn't really work out over time. You need to split that up. So if you're watching and you want to be a team, you might get stomped. You might even stomp other teams, but I highly recommend the amateur series. It's a blast. But Catpeach, we got a draft, and I think we got to get into this.
Yeah, we have ourselves a draft. First pick going over to Deckard Pains, so we're going to have to see if they want to ban out that Mal'Ganis. We also still see, Dahaka banned out quite a bit. Asmodan banned out quite a bit as well, to varying teams' favorability there. So just waiting on what Deckard Pains opting to take out. We also see, I feel like, a lot of support chokes happening more often than not, especially on things like the Deckard Cain on the Stukov, the Malfurion as well, coming back into the meta. But the first two bans here are going to be that Junkrat and Medivh. Junkrat getting massive value here, so I really like that ban coming out.
I like the Medivh ban as well because it offers a lot of backdoor potential into that backline, which if they're showing this, I wonder if it's going to show that their backline's a little too squishy and they're maybe playing a little bit more of a dive heavy comp. So they're going to be they're going to be separating themselves from the friendly team. And so having that Medivh might actually be big, or there's just a Medivh one trick on the other team and they know that because they've scattered each other out. And these are all teams that have probably played against each other within Diamond Master, Grandmaster. But we have Maiev banned out. Still, actually, high priority onto the Maiev bans I've seen consistently throughout high-level play is still a force to be reckoned with and still a high priority for a lot.
Yeah, the reset with her fan of knives here is really valuable, and just her ability to go in and, I mean, you were talking about the kind of portal back into the backline with that Medivh. She has a lot of that same mechanic as well. Less escape, but she does have that that D trait to be able to kind of leap out of damage for a time being. So she's a bit of a nuisance that a lot of teams have been removing from the table, as well as the Blaze since a lot of his changes, being a bit less solo focus on the offlane and contributing far more to team fights since a couple of his number tweaks a couple weeks back.
I love this draft so far from them, and as we're gonna be seeing that first pick Abathur, and Abathur making a weird, I don't know, just coming back and being extremely popular with a lot of these teams. I haven't seen it in a little bit, and now it's just everywhere. But Duranda Hanzo gonna be picked up for the members of Reborne, gonna have that. Well, tons of vision for the friendly team and a lot of great poke from both. I actually really like that start to the draft for them, but what do we get from these next two?
I mean, I feel like if you're picking up the Genji to go with that Abathur, now's the time to do it before the next ban is in, but instead, seeing the Alex Strauza come in, so having that Dragon Queen to help defend during those alter phases, and Diablo, who has a lot of really juicy walls hanging around for him to get that Shadow Charge and that stun off onto, more importantly. So those are two really, really strong pickups coming in for the Deckard Pains.
I think this is such a strong initiation for them in the draft because they're not showing a ton, and Reborn's doing exactly what I was just about to say. They should start taking out some of the heroes that are extremely good at clearing the shrine because that's what they don't have. And Jaina also benefits from the Abathur. So when you clone Jaina with Abathur, she benefits from her trait as the clone as well. So if you already have damage on a hero, she's already going to be doing that increased damage on that clone. And really quickly in Twitch chat, Zadhots, thank you for the 11-month resub to the HeroesHype channel. Your support means a ton to us. Thank you so much. But a Lost Vikings ban is going to be coming out against Reborn. They're a little afraid of that, which it is a map for Lost Vikings. It's not a map we see often, but it really can work for them if they can kind of play that slow game. But they're definitely going to be needing a main tank, a solo laner, and something to kind of round out this draft damage-wise. Maybe even a Malthael.
Yeah, maybe something like that Malthael. We were talking before the draft that we want to see those Christmas skins come in for the holiday series. So the Malthael absolutely coming in, gonna be here. And we're also gonna get the Thrall paired with that. So I feel like being able to have possibly that Sunder to, stun out, maybe delay that Dragon Queen if you have really good timing on the side of Reborn would be extremely crucial. Or, stun out a couple other abilities there. The last rights, obviously, to get that last hit in, making sure you confirm the kill on any of your opponents is really strong. So I don't know what the front line looks like in terms of a main tank for Reborn. So I'm really curious to see what they pair with.
Anytime you're ready.
And the Rainer Greymane coming in to round out the draft for Deckard Pains.
I like that. Dive with the Diablo for the Greymane. He can grab camps. You have Rainer for some range damage, and then we're going to be seeing a Garrosh come out from Reborn. That's going to offer them some single target picks. The Warlord's Challenge will be a big deal for them as well. Be able to lock down a couple heroes, maybe even get Alex Reza, as you noted, if you have good timing before she pops that Dragon form. And the reason we harp on that is because it's the Dragon form. It's really, really powerful for the members of Deckard Pains, because in a lot of situations you kind of need to back off and wait for that to expire. Also in Twitch chat really quickly, Reoccurring Fear, thank you for the 9-month resub. Thank you for supporting the channel. All these awesome people coming out tonight, Catpeach, and for an amazing event. And just really quickly before we get into this, don't forget to hit !match and check out the donations that you can give. I already see that I think like Kitty Cat has 50. So someone donated 50 cents, like Treebeard I think donated. Overall, you can give 50 cents. Like it's still something. So I just please go and support the amateur series, and it supports the players and it supports the scene, and we all thank you for being here and joining us.
Yeah, any little bit that you can contribute, if you can, obviously it goes to these teams for supporting over the next couple of weeks. So it's hyper appreciated, but even if you can't, we still appreciate you being here and cheering on these teams and seeing these fantastic games that are surely ahead of us. So we're gonna be popping into it, Bahamut, and I got the excitement jives going on. I'm ready for this.
I am super, super pumped for this first match of the evening, but let's get into this. On the left-hand side, we are going to be having the members of Reborn, with Tenedakio going to be on the Garrosh, Valimar going to be on the Tyrande, Mist going to be on the Hanzo, Ezreal going to be on the... I cannot see because they're all stacked up. Is on the Malthael, and Winterheart is going to be on that Thrall. Also, all those Wonderbillies. Look at
so many Wonderbillies coming out. And on the other side, not so many Wonderbillies, but still a great team. We're going to see Jet playing the Greymane, I Hate Toast on the Rainer, Alapex on the Alexstrasza, Mortavir on the Abathur, and over 9,000 would be on Diablo.
We get into this mid lane, and everyone is ready and just walking in here, and they're ready for a nice little fight. Abathur going to be scouting this out a little bit with some of these mines off the bat, and nothing really... Oh, wait. That's a body check Garrosh.
Body check come out. Over 9,000 trying to get the body check though himself on that Diablo. Ends up having to go away, taking a lot of damage initially in the skirmish. But up into the top lane, that Malthael going in to throws with Jet on that Greymane. We're gonna have to see how that off lane goes. This is actually really exciting. We don't have... I feel like a lot of the off lanes we see a lot in this game, we don't have the Yrel, we don't have the Blaze, so we get a bit of a mix-up than I think we're typically used to here.
This is actually like an old off lane too. Greymane is not a standard for the off lane since it feels like over a year at this point, but with the Abathur hat, it might actually push in Ezreal so much, but going back to these rotations between mid and bottom before the first objective spawns is really going to be the prime source of a lot of their experiences. They're going to be double soaking through these lanes, but Thrall actually making sure that Abathur hat isn't getting that value in middle lane, and then we also have Ezreal still getting pushed into the gate, and Jet playing a little aggressive. They could go for a heavy rotation, but with comms being probably as clear as they are, I don't think that will be scattered anytime soon, and we just have camps being grabbed, lanes being prepped, and we're going to be preparing for this bottom lane Punisher in about a minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, Reborn are showing they're really trying to prep that bottom lane as much as possible in hopes that they get that first Punisher, like you mentioned. Shadow Shard's going out on Tenedakio, who then gets a flip in the triple stun, followed by the triple stun with the Lunar Flare. Bahamut, those stuns later in this game, after he gets more damage on this Hanzo and on that Thrall and that Malthael, is possibly going to spell a lot of pain for the Deckard Pains.
I don't think I've ever seen a combo like that where you just have the stun from Garrosh as well as the Tyrande. That follow-up is so strong for them. If they do end up having some sort of burst on top of that, as you noted, that'll be huge for the team. Jet, a little too far forward, will be getting the hat from Abathur, but I don't think it'll be enough, as Ezreal should be able to get one more hit, and that will be first kill of the game going over to Reborn. They claim the solo lane. Thrall goes ahead and works over on the Bruiser camp to push that into top, and that's really, really good timing from them, because now this bottom lane Punisher is going to be quite the nuisance. Oh, Winterheart, it's going to need proc that trait to make sure they stay alive. But this pushing top lane left unattended will get so much value for the friendly team.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing to consider, though, is you also have that Abathur who might be having that counter push, and depending on how quickly that camp can be taken out, Abathur, and depending on how long Deckard Pains might be able to stall on the objective, Abathur starts to get more value as time goes on. So that's something Reborne is going to have to keep in mind as they go into this altar. But they're starting not waiting a moment to get this in. They get the flip onto over 9,000. Stun follow-up is there as well. They're trying to get the kill on Diablo, and it is there.
Oh, the Dragon Form is popped as well, and they want to step up in this, but I don't think they can now that their Diablo's dead, and they want to utilize this Dragon Form with the Abathur hat as well. Stun going to be coming out onto that large body, and it's not going to have any sort of follow-up damage for any sort of kills, but this is going to be a shrine very much in favor for the members of Reborne, as Abathur is in the lane, body soaking, so that way they can hat soak mid lane. Malfield making a rotation up here. If they don't get out of here, this could be an Abathur caught out of position. I'm waiting for... Okay, Punisher's grabbed him bottom. Malfield goes straight for the bush. He's scouted out. The slaps are there.
The slaps are there. The burrow's there. Is it in time? What are they
Oh my
doing?
god. Wait, Abathur. Wait, is the poison damage on?
Oh my god. Abathur,
Well,
you can't kill the slug.
that well, so perfect. But we still have a Punisher in bottom lane, Catpeach, and it's getting some decent value, but nothing beyond what we typically expect. The gate's going to go down, and they're going to open up the map a little bit for themselves here and start to back off, and we're going to go right back into those rotations between mid and bottom. Malfield's going to be up on that top lane getting the clear into this camp, and we're going to have another Punisher coming up in about 7 minutes into the game.
Over 9,000 gets the flip on the Tentadactyl. They're trying to back out. Diablo going to fall here yet again as that body just ragdolls all over the place from that Alexstrasza, allowing Reborn to get the steal on the siege camp from their opponent, which is, again, going to get them a lot of push value. And with getting that bottom gate down, by the way, if they want to focus on that bottom lane, making sure they time out that bottom camp for the rest of these altars, unchecked, that is going to push into that fort and do a lot of damage and potentially even take down that structure. That's something that Deckard Pains are going to have to keep an eye on now that they've lost that bit of protection for that.
We have these lanes just prepped so far in advance by the members of Reborn, and I just like this. This is really, really good map play overall. The members of Deckard Pains are going to need to play this a little bit slower, and they are doing that. They're doing a good job of making sure they're not going too far out to get the clear onto these. They're making sure that they don't get caught out of position. Maybe I might have spoke too soon there, but Jet is getting a little bit low, but they don't give over another death, and that's the important part here. The Sentinels coming out are so good.
The Sentinels are absolutely great. Valimar just being able to get those owls out, get that vision, try to get those snipes, forcing Jet to delay the Hearth back. And Jet needs to be playing careful a bit more, I think. We've seen them get into a lot of really, I don't want to say greedy positions, but really taking that dive that Greymane is known for and diving their heart out. But in turn has gotten them a lot of health taken away. And like we saw early in the game, also a kill. The Mule's coming out for Abathur to help protect in this mid lane from this gate being taken down for the time being. And I was raising my hand before because I just realized that we have ourselves a veteran marksman Rainer here. These builds coming up from these teams, I absolutely love it. Like, we have Garrosh as brute force at level 7. These aren't talents that we typically see. And the other thing to note too, Tentadactyl is doing an amazing job of getting those groundbreakers off. And actually, if you would have had that level 1 talent, that would have been far done by now. But we actually have Hanzo finishing out that level 1 simple geometry, and we have over 9,000. Maybe it's going to fall under 9,000. The taunt comes out from Tentadactyl. There's the healing circle right underneath them. No? Do we get out? Okay, so we're fine. But I was like, do we step up on this? No, they're going to play it safe. The no stun going to be connecting. I Hate Toast is going to get a little bit of poke out here. And they just continue to push in the mid lane while we have the shrine activating. But Malfield can rotate down in just a second. And I want to see if they're able to maybe even push even harder, because there aren't 10 advantages for the members of Deckard Pains, and they could look for a flank and really utilize that heroic ability over them. Altar now started. Reborn getting those first few in as they have that 10 advantage. 10 now here for the rest of Deckard Pains. And Soul's also here for Diablo. Oh, so goes out. The APOC is out as well, but Alexstrasza immediately going to go down over 9,000, gets the Abathur hat, but ends up getting taunted. Tentadactyl confirming the kill on both Diablo and Greymane, and that is 3 kills, a no-soul Diablo, and a glorious win coming out for Reborn.
Meanwhile, in bottom lane, Abathur is going to continue to body soak, make sure they soak up that experience. We only have about a level difference between the two. Tenedakil is not... Oh my god, they get this! Yep, that's a dead Abathur.
No!
They're going to be able to... the assassin known as Garrosh will go ahead and into bottom lane and get that kill. But that's going to be a dead slug, and this is not the time you want that, because that is a lot of your split soak to catch up in this game. Meanwhile, Garrosh is in that bottom lane. They're holding off on 39 of these skeletal defenders, which they do finish out now. They grab a camp for top lane. Garrosh is going to push out bottom. They're nearing 13s, and this push should achieve that for them. Meanwhile, Malthael's making sure that Diablo doesn't have the D push into this. And this is starting to really, really come together for the members of Reborne. I'm hoping that Deckard Pains are able to play this a little bit slower and just are able to get this Punisher baited away, and they can burn it down so they don't lose more than maybe just the key front gate.
Yeah, they're gonna give this fort up. They don't have 13. They know that Reborne is right around the corner, and the last thing you want to do is give that depth and give them that talent advantage. They're gonna play it behind their gate, just play it very safe, try to get the bait like you said, and possibly, you know, give up this gate, but the real game here is protecting the keep. So long as you keep that, you are still okay in this lane, but you are not if you get flipped like that. The last right doesn't even have time to connect onto Diablo, who's going to go down here. Stuff coming out, Mortimer trying to go in with that clone, ends up being dissipated quite quickly. The heals are there from Alapex, but overall, every lane having such good push from Reborne. That top camp pushing the entire time. After was soaking the bottom lane. Malthael with the Pale Horse being able to quickly rotate down there to start to catch up. So Reborne really playing that advantage by stealing the super camp as well. And just really... Hayato taking a lot of damage! The scatter arrow 4D 400 IQ play coming out here from Reborne. Miss just tearing it up on Hanzo.
Actually, Winterheart ended up stealing the kill somehow.
Oh, what?
It was Thrall, and I was just like, wait, how did he? Because I thought it was the same thing. I was like, oh, scatter arrow, and then I look over, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Hanzo's face. But I like what they're doing at this time. They have Malthael double soaking in bottom lane, going to be pushing that out, has the camp down there. The entire team is now pushing into top lane, opening this up, and prepping for the next Punisher, where they get a huge burn onto that Diablo, and that is going to be a dead demon. No souls to bring them back to life, as they are only sitting at 22 out of the 100 necessary. And I don't know, I think we have the next Punisher coming up in like a minute or two, so they can realistically grab a camp on the bottom left and maybe push in another lane for a little bit more of an experience gap. But this will be a 16 to 13 Punisher phase easily. And I'm just curious how Deckard Pains are going to be able to soak up this experience and also contest, or at least have some sort of voice in this fight, because at this point we're seeing a big old margin between these two teams form, and they need to kind of slow that margin from getting bigger.
Yeah, I feel like on the side of Deckard Pains, you're not necessarily going to win the 5v4 that you're essentially at, with the Abathur being in another lane. Even with that clone, I think the CC coming out from Reborne with, you know, the stuns and the taunt coming out from Garrosh, you have Tyrande with the Lunar Flare follow-up as well, is just so much for that Diablo and for that Greymane to be able to work with. So I want to see Deckard Pains set up some kind of flank, maybe play it safe, wait in the bushes, wait to see Reborne show up on the map, and try to get some kind of pick, something small to start slowly getting them in this league, because so far these team fights have not been playing out so well for them.
10-0 in kills. The experience is 3 levels ahead for the members of Reborne. And we just have them kind of playing safe in mid. They're getting the clear onto this camp, and we can see that Malthael's on top, and that's why they're so far forward here. But they wanted to get another fight. Over 900 is going to pop the Apocalypse. The Indomitable is used as well. Sunder going to be splitting the team in half. We have the clone onto the Greymane as well, but that is going to be Alifex going to be going down first. Jet is going to be falling below them as well. Over 9,000 is going to go down. I Hate Toast is going to have the last rights put onto them, but no death. Mist goes over the wall, and once again, Winterheart steals the kill on Raynor from Mist. And this is going to be a Shrine activatable. Only a Slug is alive in bottom lane, trying to soak up for 16.
Winterheart just stealing all the kills from his teammate. Feels bad if you're missed. Those are some really good arrows, I do gotta say, but Winterheart being able to get the final hit in, at least confirming the kill is, you know, the most important thing. It's not a competition here, but Reborne saying this game is, and they are going for this keep, while Malthael solos the altar right now, getting the skeletal defenders in. Azariel holding down the floor. Abathur pushing in that lane. There is a pretty hefty wave for Deckard Pains on the bottom. I don't know how much, if at all, it's really going to do to that gate, but if you know, you still have all your structures up that you can farm that experience from if you're Deckard Pains. So at this point, perhaps you make a really hard rotation. You try to get down a gate, you try to get down a fort, and kind of cut a little bit of your losses just to try to get that 16 so you can fight at a fair talent advantage rather than going into these fights over and over again like they have been and expecting something to change.
Are they trying to set up a bush gank here? I'm just looking at minimap and it just looks like they're waiting for the bush gank, but this isn't really a rotation that they would make. Like,
They might be anticipating the backdoor.
Oh, that's possible.
The rotation coming in, Tendactyl fronting it for it, however, which ends up getting the flip. The taunt is there, and this Diablo ends up getting knocked out of the healing from the Sundering. And that is a very, very dead Diablo, Bahamut.
They go ahead and grab the camp as well. We have Mortimer diving in on that Greymane clone that will be burned away right away, but that is going to be a Hanzo arrow connecting. They have 3 people with this. That's going to be the stun coming out from the Wrecking Ball as well. Alopex is going to go down on top of that. Miss is going to find a flank onto this. Jet is the only one alive. Got some Abathur hat heals, but I don't think it's going to... Wait.
Oh, missed. How rude.
Right in the back, but that is going to be a Punisher walking up to this core at this time. A 4-level difference between these two teams. The GGs are thrown out 18-0 in kills. Game number 1 is going to be going over to Reborne. GG. Oh, well, I don't want to call it too soon, but that's going to be the Punisher jumping over. And that is going to be Diablo just getting beat up here. And they make it back in the Hall of Storms, but that is going to be GG. Well played.
Yeah, 16's not even arriving here for Deckard Pains, so Reborne just taking the speed route through this game, getting the win and moving on. They are playing with a sub tonight, so to see them have such a strong performance, regardless of that, of having Valimar on the team tonight, it really shows just, you know, Reborne, they struggled a little bit last week, but I think they're here